That's my big toenail. Or parts of it. Sometimes it's nice to just have a quiet day. And it is. I don't think anybody can deny that. Let's see, where to start. Well, last night, I uploaded this thing from yesterday, well, late in the afternoon, as I tend to do. And Paul and I watched our usual stuff on Friday night. We watched Gwen Ifill on Washington Week in Review, and and then we watched a couple of things like like Modern Family and things, on the syndication replays. And then and he went to bed, and then I thought, well, I'd like to watch. There's this thing called Couch Tuner, and it's like couchtuner.eu. And I've used it for the last 2 years to watch things like The Middle and Modern Family and Arrested Development and TV series and Shameless and Silk and the other one that's really my favorite, Last Tango in Halifax. So well, I'd like to catch up on The Middle and Modern Family. And so I went to the site and immediately, just like wham, it's like wham, windows are opening up all over the place. Wham, wham, windows are opening up all over the place. And I thought, this is bizarre. So I got the computer force quit. And I restarted it, and it was doing the same thing, so I made it force quit. Fortunately, before I did any of this, I had backed up all of my stuff on Time Machine and my Apple system. I finally figured out what was happening. What was the culprit? There was, I've got this antivirus thing called Bitdefender Plus. Well, one of the best $30 I've ever spent, by the way. And after a while, by running it, it sort of let me know what was the problem. And so I was able to, it was this program that was coming in via Couch Tuner was, what was it called? MegaBackup. And so I looked on the internet for it, and they told me, and there were a number of people who told me how to get rid of it. So I had to go to Utilities and Activity Monitor, and then force quit it from Activity Monitor out of the Utilities thing. And I thought, well, today, so then I installed El Capitan 11.1. Which didn't take all that long, but I think it took longer because I kept Bitdefender Plus on. It took about 2 hours. So, all right. That installed fine, and so then I ran stuff. Of course, I'd been doing I did 3 Time Machine backups in the interim, just to be sure. So I was eventually able to get rid of this thing. So today I thought, well, I'll try it again. And sure enough, first time I went to Couch Tuner, bam, 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 bam. This stuff comes in, so well, that little avenue of pleasure is now closed to me. So, well, I enjoyed it while it lasted. I have a feeling that means I won't be able to watch a lot of the stuff that I like to watch here later this winter and early spring. That's the way it goes. Paul is working. I just couldn't bring myself to go down to these funeral obsequies today. I don't mind going to an actual funeral, which means where the body is present or the remains of some are present in a church setting. But there was only one person down there I wanted to see, and that was his widow, Jan. There were three people I could think of I actively did not want to see. One was the husband of a woman that worked in the operating room who was a good friend. This man was not a good friend to me. She would have had to come up from Texas. There was a sort of a ne'er-do-well hanger-on, Well, I collected those too. So did Tom. And I just didn't want to encounter him because I thought he's going to latch on to me, and that's going to be just god-awful. Fact of the matter is, I like set liturgies, and I don't like this sort of free-form stuff. I don't. Plus, I just needed some time here. I just needed to have some time after all this bang, 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 bang crap this week. That makes me sound like I'm a whining weakling. But there it is. First you've got to stay alive. That's one thing my dad said to me. He says, first thing you've got to do in your life is stay alive. He says, everything else is secondary. First you have to stay alive. And I told my son that, when he was sort of like 15 and he was sort of like, and I said, look, I said, you have one job. You worry about school, you can worry about this, you can worry about that, but you have one job, and basically your job is to stay alive. That's your job. Don't do something so dumbass and stupid that you die. Your job is to stay alive. Anything else, great, but stay alive first. And now I'm finding at this stage of my life, I'm having to remind myself of that. So I'm finally caught up back to my YouTube videos from about November 3rd. Some of the longer farming videos I've put off watching deliberately because I wanted to be able to sit down and appreciate them where I can look at the technique and stuff, And then there were a number of others that I usually look at these guys, but quite often they do things like they talk about some popular song or movie or something. I don't really care about that. Well, okay. Go to church tomorrow. I'll go to 8 o'clock service, so I don't have to watch him sit down there with the kids and do whatever he does, and and last night, right as I was getting ready to wind up all of this installation of this new operating system, this woman from church calls me on my cell phone, and she's one of the great mumblers. She's one of the great mumblers in human history, and you can hear her about maybe 62% of the time, 58% of the time, which means that if you keep asking her to repeat herself, she gets pissed off. Because she's wiggling her phone around, she's turning her head, she's looking at stuff while she talks. Well, one of the stalwarts at church is, fell down in the rest home and broke her. And had broken her hip. Well, this individual indicated that she broke her femur. Well, her hip's part of her femur. And of course, I asked for specific details, like, I doubt seriously this woman had a mid-shaft fracture of her femur, but, we're all, well, not we are all, I am all at the stage of the game where you can easily fall down and then easily nail yourself. Well, and God bless Llewellyn is even more of that, and is of that, and hopefully still will be of that. But I have a feeling that this is going to be the start of a long downhill slide. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't wish the long downhill slide on this woman or her husband. I always say go for the clean kill. Just go for the clean kill. In fact, there was a guy. I had a bit of an exchange with Tony Pincham about something here a few days ago. I was recalling the first time I had done, true CPR by myself on somebody, which was October 1st of 1973. My first day on, quote, the clinics, and I was on a surgical service, and I was, you have to go in and take a history and physical, people that were admitted, and this was in one of the 4-bed wards. They had, they occasionally had 4-bed wards. They had two bedrooms generally. And then occasionally they had like a couple of 4-bed ward type arrangements down toward the tail end of the building. And I was in there, and this guy right by the window, I was sort of like the bed. I was interviewing the patient or examining the patient next to, next but one to the window. And the guy next to the window just kind of went, like, and became really quiet. Well, you immediately think, well, he also looked very gray. Way darker than the 18% neutral gray card that photographers use. So I went over and this guy was bony and spindly and hadn't shaved. Oh, kind of like me. Well, I wasn't bony. I'm not bony and spindly, but so I said to swing into action to do the CPR, and at that point it was like, you did the chest compressions, breathe, chest compressions, breathe. Nowadays it's basically I just want you to circulate the blood. It's rather than, if you only have one person, circulate the blood, the occasional breath, fine, but breathe, just circulate the blood. But at that point it was like, 5 or 6 or 7 and then breathe, or 2, 2 breaths, certain things. And well, this guy had to have been basically almost dead before he sort of did the, because he was cold as hell. He was as cold as the 2 times I've been made to kiss these corpses at funerals. And now we're getting back to another, things circle around, don't they? I had to kiss my my Aunt Bess or Belle, one of those two women. They all looked they looked alike. They weren't twins. They were 2 years apart, but they looked alike. They acted like they were my grandmother's older sisters. Oh, kiss her on the lips. I was instructed at age 9. I wanted to say, fuck you. But that would have traumatized all their sensibilities, because how could a 9-year-old child from that family know the phrase, fuck you? Which leads me, as an aside, and I hope I wander back to the central point. The first time my sister came home from college, it's like one of those hall of mirror effects in my glasses. And she came home from college, and it was the habit of my mother and myself to play cards in front of the open screen door. Not the open screen door, but in front of the screen door, on open to the front porch toward the road, to catch the evening breeze. And my sister was. They'd come home and she was playing with us, and she suddenly broke into tears. And my mother looked at her, and I looked at her. She says, my mother says, "What's wrong?" And my sister says, "God bless her." I do. Even though she screwed me on my mother's estate, I do love my sister. She said, "All the girls in the dorm make fun of me because I don't know about certain things." Well, my mother said, you can see my mother's mind churning, certain things. Says, and my sister says, "They often do this to each other." And my sister says, "I don't know what that means." And my mother allowed us out. She didn't know what that meant either. Meanwhile, I'm trying to go into an intense inhalation, holding my breath there. And this was not the only time. I mean, over the few, well, she didn't come home all that much that first autumn quarter, but when she came home from Thanksgiving, she went into this whole total breakdown. I don't understand what a lot of these people are talking about. And, well, you had to feel sorry for your sister, didn't you? Well, you did. It all related around to the use of the F word. And I thought, wow, here I am 9. I'm 9. And I sort of have I know about the mechanics. I don't necessarily know about the hand signals, but I'm glad my camera battery died. I think this is going to be far better. Anyway, I wanted to circle back. Let's find this. It's 4 o'clock now, and it occurs to me that this is actually my weekend. It's Saturday. All the crap has stopped. So I've been wondering why I have this kind of weekend feeling the whole time. Well, because it's my damn weekend. So anyway, just to wind up the story about this phone call. Well, she mumbles. I mean, you know, my friend from church mumbles. Oh, how she mumbles. And you know, you have to be selective about what you ask you to repeat, as I said. You know, we got talking about this new interim rector and things, and she and I are more or less in disagreement about this guy. That's fine. We were in disagreement about the previous rector. You know, the actual rector who left us in the lurch when we were just getting ready to go swimmingly well. Thanks, Charles. That was really great of you. I won't even go into the deeper underlying issue about that, because it will make me sound horrible. But that's the fact of the matter. You know, just okay. The man has to do what he feels like he has to do, and for the best of his family. I understand that. I absolutely understand that. I absolutely understand that. All right. So I can't bring myself, you know, and I said to her, I said, look, I mean, this guy's sermons are about 3 to 5 minutes longer than usual, and, you know, and then he does this thing with the kids. You know, I mean, we're getting out of there, you know, the 10:30 service used to end at about 11:45. It doesn't end now until sometimes just a hair after 12. Well, a lot of it has to do with well, there's, you know, the kids stuff, and then, like, you know, him going on about how he's going to, you know, change things and turn things around and make us, you know, a magnet for the city of Delaware. Hell's fire, we already were. You know, until, you know, if it weren't for the fact I feel a compelling need to go to church, I'd be out of there in a heartbeat. But I've said that repeatedly over the years. Although really, not very much since Charles Wilson came in 2007. No. But we'll see. It's church stuff. It's institutional stuff. Organizational stuff. Well, no, it's not just strictly organizational stuff. Well, anyway. Rest in peace, Tom Nims. I'm sure my being there or not being there is going to send you on your soul on your way to God, because it fled on its way to the presence of God when you cacked off there on November 8th. And God bless his widow, Jan. Indeed. Beautiful fall day. So bye-bye, YouTubers.